Hadouken!
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is for people out there who want to collect Street Fighter comics, because if you do, there's something you need to know, and there's something very important when it comes to collecting things in general. How do you collect them? Now, when it comes to the Street Fighter Udon comics, to be specific, we're going to be talking about the Street Fighter Udon comics. It is important to know how to collect them, okay? So I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, I just uploaded a video reviewing the Street Fighter Malibu comics. So now that that's out the way, we're gonna be reviewing a lot of the Udon comics, stuff like that, a lot of reviews and showing off stuff like that. So if you're somebody who enjoys Street Fighter Udon comics or comic books or something like that, and you want to start collecting them, I highly recommend subscribing and like just being aware of the videos that I'm going to be uploading, because they revolve around Street Fighter comics. So with that out the way, let's get into the video of how to collect the Street Fighter Udon comics. Now, there is 3 ways to collect the Street Fighter Udon comics, and I'm going to show you them right now. You can collect them in the single editions. These are the single classic comic books. A couple pages. They're holded by 2 staples, front, back, and of course the comic book inside. So this is the classic way. We all know what these look like. This is the first way you can collect them. And then the second way you can collect the comics is through the paperback omnibus versions. These collect the series compacts. So like, for example, this one right here collects the first 6 volumes of Street Fighter. And it also includes a bonus volume of Volume 0. So you can get these, which, you know, are omnibuses, if you know what those are. And then for the final way to collect them are the hardcovers. These things are huge. You can't even fit in the screen, as you can see. These things are pretty freaking big. What is the exact measurements? That's a good question. Let me get the measuring tape. But before we measure them, let's just talk about this. So yeah, this is the hardcover version of the comics that you can collect them in. And they're hardcover, so, you know, nice hardcover. And then the pages are huge, very high quality. And to be honest with you, these are the best ways to collect the comics. But there's some other good ways too. So I showed you 3 ways, but one of them you want to avoid completely, and this only goes for the Street Fighter Udon comics. You want to avoid these completely. And what are those? I'm going to show you right now. Let me just get these out the way. These right here, the omnibus versions of the Udon comics. Stay far away. Sorry about the glare, by the way. Can't do much about that. Stay far away from these. Do not collect the Street Fighter Udon comics through the omnibuses. And why do you want to stay away from them? The quality. Now, the page quality, let's get some of these out the way. The page quality is not bad. You know, it's nice, glossy, thick pages. But as you can see, they fall apart. And no, this is not me not taking care of my comics. This is a worldwide problem with these versions of the Street Fighter Udon comics. They are glued. Yes, you heard that correctly. These pages are glued on, and the glue isn't too good. So this is actually one of the first comics I ever bought. When I wanted to start collecting Street Fighter comics, this is the first thing I bought, right? I didn't know anything about Street Fighter Udon comics. I didn't know how to collect them. I didn't know what to do, so I just bought this off Amazon. It got in the mail. I read the whole thing, but, you know, once I was done reading it, I put it on the shelf. Next thing you know, like a week or 2 later, I pick it back up to just flip through the pages, falling apart. So if we flip through these, look at this. It just completely comes off. And you can see right there, the glue is it sucks. The glue is not gluing, to say the least. So, and look at that, see, like, it just comes off. They're not good. And when you're reading it, you can hear Wait, I don't know. I'm gonna try to. I'm not forcefully doing it. I'm normal. I'm just flipping the page normally. I'm not forcefully doing it aggressively. This is me normally flipping the page. You can hear the pages coming off. Let me see if you can hear it on camera. That's me flipping it. I don't know if you can hear that. You might need headphones to hear that. But literally, like, you can hear crackling every time you flip a page and look through them. Every single page I flip through, look at that, bam, another page just came off. Stay far away from these guys. Do not collect the Street Fighter Udon comics through the omnibuses, because this is a known problem, not just with me. If you ask anybody who owns copies of these omnibus Street Fighter comics, they will tell you the same thing. These are not good quality. And no, it's not just Street Fighter Legends Sakura. Let's take a look at the other two omnibuses that I have. So this is Street Fighter Volume 2. This collects volumes 7 through 14 of Street Fighter. If we flip through the pages, again, crackling. Hear that? You hear that crackling? And same issue. Look at this. The pages are completely coming off. Look at this. The whole damn book. The whole damn book came off. I'm just holding the outer shell right now. The whole book just came off. So it's not just Street Fighter Legends Sakura, it's all of these. So if you see these online, don't buy them. Which sucks, because these are really cool ways to collect them. Like, it's nice and compact, they're very portable, very nice quality, they collect multiple volumes, the page quality is great. The reason why these things are not good, they're glued on. And the glue, not the best quality. So, when it comes to collecting Street Fighter comics, stay far away from these. But the other two ways, completely perfect. Let's go over those. So, starting off with the paperbacks, the single editions that you can collect. These are the classic way to collect comic books since the 60s. These are perfect. Personally, I like collecting the Street Fighter comics through these. Want to know why? Because, you know, yes, you can get a hardcover that collects the whole series, but having the whole series individual, each volume, is nice, because if you buy them individually, you get a nice little cover art. If you buy a hardcover, you're only gonna get one cover art. But if you buy the single editions, you get a nice cover art. The page quality is fantastic, nice and glossy. You know, page quality is great. It's just your regular old comic book. And then, as you can see, they are stapled on. And that's how comic books have been made for almost 100 years, bro. Like, staples, you can't go wrong with it. It's just a bunch of papers stapled together, and it's perfectly fine. And the way Udon makes them, they're very high quality, they're very nice. And, like I said, if you buy the single editions, you get a cool little cover, and then, you get the comic book. And it's just very nice. It's very cool. So if you want to collect the comics through the single editions, very good idea. I would not judge you for doing that, because that is the best way to do it, in my opinion. Now you could either get the hardcovers too. Now the hardcovers, they're hardcover, of course, but they collect a bunch of volumes. So this is the Street Fighter V hardcover, right? And there is no Street Fighter V series, but there is a bunch of Street Fighter comics that take place during Street Fighter V. And this hardcover collects all of the comics that are in Street Fighter V. So Street Fighter V, Wrestling Special, Charlie Nash, Menat, WrestlePalooza, Sakura vs. Karin, Necra and Effie, Akuma vs. Hell, Super Combo Special, Ultra Street Fighter 2, right? It collects all of those volumes in one. And the quality is top-notch, and it's not glued, it's not stapled. These are sewed together. Yes, they are sewed on, like you know how like your grandma, like sews a sweater. It's sewed on. I don't know, like that's, you can't go wrong with that. So these things are the best quality. Flipping through them, you can see how good quality these are. Very thick pages. And the cool thing about the Street Fighter hardcovers is that these collect a bunch of comics, right? So if you go to the end of the comic, they always have the covers. They always have covers of those comics. So like I said, if you want to collect the single editions, you can get a cover for each comic. If you collect the hardcover, you're only going to get one cover. But at the end of the comic, they show the cover arts of these volumes. If you were to get them individually, it shows you what they look like. And that's very cool. Like, this one's so cool. Look at that one right there. Necro and Effie. Like, it's very, very cool stuff. So that's one way. Now, let's get into measurements. So let's measure them real quick. We're gonna measure this live on camera. So the hardcover is about 11 and a half inches. That's how long it is. How long are the pages? The pages are about 11 and a quarter of an inch. So pretty big pages. And like I said, they're really high quality. They're really good. Now, if you were to collect the, classic comic book versions, these are about 10 inches. So the page length is only going to be about an inch longer. And if you were to collect the paperback omnibus versions, these are the smallest ones, coming in at a little over 8 inches. So not only are these the worst quality ones, not only do the pages fall apart, but the pages are smaller. So your best option, collect the comics through the hardcovers or collect them through the single editions, because that's really the best way to collect them. And that is basically it for today's video. But there is one more thing I must mention. To this day, Udon's main way of making Street Fighter comics is through the single editions like this. And then they still make hardcovers. They don't make these anymore. Probably because they saw the feedback of how bad they were. But Udon does not make these anymore, so you can't get like a Street Fighter 6 omnibus anymore. You can't get those. Or you can't get a Street Fighter Masters omnibus because they stopped making these. Probably because they heard all the feedback and they noticed that, oh yeah, people do not like the quality of these. So luckily, if you wanted to collect all the comics, you couldn't in the first place. Okay, it looks like my freaking my camera turned off. But yeah, that's basically it for the video. If you want to collect the Street Fighter comics, your best bet is to do the hardcovers or the paperback single editions, or mix them up. You could do both, like I do, right over there if you look at my collection. So yeah, even if you wanted to, you can't even collect the whole series, the whole like franchise of Street Fighter comics. You can't even collect them with this. So that's basically for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.